Hey, what's up you guys? This is your girl Christina and welcome to my video on how to think like a developer. So if you're a brand new developer in the company and this is going to hit you very hard, especially that imposter syndrome stuff, but you don't exactly have a method of how to solve certain bugs. A lot of it comes from experience, but I'm going to share with you 5 ways how you can approach coding issues, bugs, and problems. It's more like a way of thinking. So I'm going to share that with you guys today. It's a very generic layout. Of course, everybody solves problems a little bit differently. Everybody has different approaches. So this is a very generic approach. I have my notes up here. So if you see me stare at the screen, it's because I have notes. I want to provide you guys the best content. So a little story about myself. I am currently an intern as an application developer. So basically right now I work for an insurance company. I work in their IT department and I help maintain their software, their templates and etc. I don't want to get into too much detail, but basically I handle their back ends. So currently right now I am a part of a production quality team. So basically we handle bugs that are happening on the production side, and we receive the bugs and we have to get them fixed within like 2 to 3 hours. It's a very small time frame, believe it or not. So when I first started my internship, right? So I really didn't have like a workflow to handle like bugs and issues with code. I thought I did. Like I had a process, but it wasn't really efficient. It didn't involve me asking questions. It's just kind of like just going through the motions. Like I see the keywords, I go find it I find it in the system, the code, and I kind of step through. But it was very unorganized, and because I didn't really have a solid working methodology of how to fix bugs or any type of coding problem, that's where a lot of time is wasted and a lot of frustration. So, and it takes me a really long time to complete applications because of this, my old traditional way of thinking of solving a bug. Now, ever since I made that switch over to this team now, where I have to fix bugs faster, like less than 2 or 3 hours, so I had to come up with some type of plan. So, as I was working there, I'm going to share with you 5 tips and 5 steps to help you solve bugs and issues within your code. Because everybody's different. I understand everybody's different. Everybody has like their own workflow of how they want to approach a bug in their program. But this is just a very generic layout. So you can nitpick what you want, switch up the order, whatever. It's meant to be a generic workflow, so that way it can apply any way how you like to apply it to your workflow. So here's the 5 steps going into it. Number 1 is, are you able to duplicate the problem? So what I mean by that is when you receive a bug or an issue in the code, right, from somebody else, from their workstation, and they're coming to you saying, hey, I cannot get this to work. So I'm reporting it as a bug because I can't get this to work. I'm like, cool. First thing I do is I try to see if I can duplicate the problem. So I will try to know their workflow. So I ask the person, hey, what was your workflow? How did you get to this point? And now I'll sit there and I copy their exact workflow to reproduce the bug. Because once I'm able to reproduce what the issue is, I know for sure that it's really an issue. It's not just user error or maybe it's just their machine. So it kind of eliminates those doubts and those questions. So duplicate the problem. And furthermore, to dive deeper with the person who reports these issues, do you fully understand what's going on? Are you able to recreate this issue? If you're not able to recreate this problem, it probably means there's something going on with their machine or user error. It's just a million one different things that could have gone wrong on their end. But the most important thing is if you're able to recreate it on your end. If you're not able to, then it's not really a problem. So it's just one of those things. So you have to really fully dive deep into the question, into the issue, and figure out what's going on. Do I really understand what's going on? And do I know where to look in the code for this issue? So going into number 2 is ask questions. Ask good quality questions. Quality questions will help you pinpoint exactly where you need to look in the code. So just to be completely transparent with you guys, when I first started as an intern, of course, I went through this whole experience of, because there's the imposter syndrome portion of this, and there's the pride. So going back to asking questions. So in the beginning, I made a mistake of not asking enough questions because of imposter syndrome, because of my pride, whatever excuse I have. I did not ask enough questions. And when I didn't ask enough questions, I was not able to get stuff done. And everybody's looking at me like, oh, why are you not getting your stuff done? And I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out. And I beat myself up a lot because I didn't really know. I know the basics, but I really didn't know their system very well. And I felt that I need to know these things because, like, hey, I went to school for this. I should know. Everything should just click, right? Wrong. So what I started doing to become a little bit more faster on fixing bugs and fixing issues is ask questions from the experienced developer. It's okay to ask an experienced developer to help you. It's okay to raise your hand. It's better for you to ask questions and keep the process moving than you trying to stay to yourself and hold on to your pride and trying to solve it on your own. And it may take a little bit longer. But it's not wrong asking for help, raising your hand, ask a question. Because this is my process before. So before, I would just sit there and just place a bunch of breakpoints on certain key functions from the bug. And then I place breakpoints and I hit F11 and I'll step through and I'll step through and I'll step through, hoping that something will pop out at me. I'm be like, aha, there's the problem. But no, it doesn't work like that. So it didn't happen like that at all. So I had to get out of my comfort zone and start reaching out to experienced developers, ask questions, learn about the system. And because I did that, I'm able to solve issues and being able to locate where the problem is a lot quicker in the code now than what I did previously. So ask questions. Number 2, ask questions. There's no shame. You're brand new. It's to be expected that you don't know everything. So you got your foot in the door, go ahead and ask away, ask questions. This is a time for you to learn and grow. So going into number 3, so once you're able to duplicate the problem, you ask your questions, you gather like research. That's what I like to call it. This is like the research phase. You ask questions to the person who reported it, understand the workflow, and if you have questions about how the system works, you can ask the experienced developer exactly where in the code you can start looking. So once you have those 2 down and you have an idea of what you want to do, where you need to go, you have a pinpoint. Now you have a picture. Now you get into step 3 and you start debugging through the code. Now, debugging, it's a very, it's a very powerful thing you gotta know how to do. Debugging efficiently. And believe it or not, I didn't know how to debug right away from school. It's weird. I go to a 4-year college now, and they didn't really cover a lot of tools and skills you need to learn how to debug. So I use Visual Studio 2017. So these are the 3 top features that I use when I'm debugging: breakpoints, call stack, and immediate window. This is a whole video in itself of how to debug code in Visual Studio. So if you're interested in that video, go ahead and subscribe. That way you'll know the moment I upload a video about debugging in Visual Studio. These are very powerful tools, and I'm gonna share more with you guys in that video. I can't do in this video because it just takes way too long, but it's great and it's powerful. So at this point, you're debugging, and I just share with you all the features that you can use in Visual Studio to help you debug and step through that program. Now, the last and final step is documentation. Do not underestimate the power of documentation. Documentation is so important. I listen, but I'm kind of lazy. I wasn't really big on documenting what my workflow is before, but ever since I was put on the spot, being a part of a team where I have to solve problems within less period of time, then that's when I woke up and said, hey, I need to document. That way I know exactly where to look in the code. If I was to walk away from my computer for a couple hours because of meetings, or if I'm away for a couple of days and come back, at least I have really good notes on the workflow, what was my thought process. I take a lot of screenshots of the code snippet, and I'll place it on my documents. So documentation is a very powerful tool, not only for yourself, but it's also helpful to other developers. So let's say somebody else picks up where you left off, at least they have a starting point and they don't have to start all over again to research what this bug is, because you were super awesome and you documented the entire workflow that you've been doing so far. So don't underestimate the power of documentation. Do it. It's going to be helpful to you and helpful to everybody else. And you're able to debug a lot faster. So, question for you guys. So, for those who is a developer now full time, or they're working remotely, or maybe just coding for fun, I want to hear in the comments below, what is your workflow process to solving bugs? What do you do? What is your workflow? What is your process to solving bugs or coding bugs? And then, if you have one, share your favorite debugging technique that you use to solve coding issues. I would love to hear it in the comments below. I love to learn something new. Like I said, I've only been an intern for a year, so I would love to hear new ideas, new perspectives of how to solve debugging code. All right, so this goes to the end of our video. So thank you so much for watching. This video, you learned to think like a developer through these 5 steps. These are very generic steps. You can switch them up. You can fit them to how they suit your style of solving a bug problem. But that's what this video is about today. So if you enjoyed the content with this video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you want to hear more content like this, like I said, my channel is a tech lifestyle channel. I cover coding and I cover productivity videos as well. So if you really enjoy this content and you can't wait to get more, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And then you can even hit the notification bell. So the moment you see my video drop, you can get notified immediately, which is really, really cool. So you're in the loop. You're not going to skip a beat. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, y'all. See ya.